Hello Earth. Welcome to the 7th episode of Making Cell, a series of videos where I record myself designing and implementing a programming environment and language called Cell. So to know a bit more what this is about, you can go here to GitHub autocode.nl/cell and find out, or you can just go back to the first video and follow from there if you have the patience. So I'm in the process of bootstrapping the language, and the last episode I finished it abruptly. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to keep on going, and then I didn't. So I gave up for the day. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to keep on going. So I'm actually going to start today with an interesting insight. Well, interesting to me, let's say. About what I'm doing, which is the fact that bootstrapping, I was having the realization that bootstrapping a programming language, which basically means creating a first version where you can actually start writing programs inside the programming language, like having enough of the programming language so that you can basically use it. It's not necessarily something strange that we do, but perhaps bootstrapping is representative of most programming, or let's say of most interesting programming. Although it's the first time I actually bootstrap a language from scratch, there's always this feeling when I'm doing something interesting in programming that I'm basically, so to speak, building something so that then I can just sit atop of it and build something else. So it's basically bridging the gap between what is already there in the machine available to you to run and the way you actually want to write the program. So when you bridge the gap, you could say that bootstrapping is bridging the gap between what is already implemented and what you want to use yourself. When there's a gap, you're bootstrapping something, and once you bootstrap something, then you can actually enjoy programming more. So I had an experience of this when I built a series of JavaScript libraries a few years ago, and in a certain way I was basically bootstrapping my own JavaScript environment, because these were JavaScript libraries. So I wasn't bootstrapping a language, but when I went from the constructs I had in JavaScript to the constructs that I wanted to have within the language, the libraries basically brought me there. And this is the same thing we're doing, only a bit more so. So anyway, I just had this thought this afternoon, and I thought you might find it interesting. I definitely find it interesting, and I'm going to be pondering on it while I just fumble my way through JavaScript. So I'm just going to copy the work in progress implementation I had yesterday of this set of functions in JavaScript that are going to bootstrap Cell. By the way, Cell is going to live in the web browser, at least at the beginning. So if you don't like JavaScript, you're probably not going to like this. But maybe you can find some interest in the way that I'm doing things. So I think this is the idea of Cell is kind of going a bit beyond the syntax and going beyond what we could call petty differences, and really think in terms of data and code as basically data that expresses changes in data. And if we are able to create a system or an approach that gives you enough freedom to define your own words for calls, then there's way less reason to be and feel petty about syntax. I think to a great extent, programmers, myself included, feel very aggravated with our tools most of the time, just because of how constrictive they are. And perhaps things don't have to be necessarily that way. So let's explore how, right? So we have a receive function, which is the one that receives a call. So we're going to basically implement something where we send text to it. We send text to receive. Then we basically take that call, parse it. Well, take that message that goes in the call, parse it, and if it's a valid message, we execute the logic in like prescribed by that message, which is going to be either a get or a set, sorry, a get or a put, and do it against some state that belongs to cell, which is stored in the local storage of the browser. So that's really what we're doing. Text here, text there, and let's see if we get somewhere. So we have this already. We're parsing the message. We have this function parse, so we need to now to define get and put and parse. So I thought I caught a mistake, never mind. So we have now the parsing of the message, and we caught a bunch of errors here. I think all the test cases with errors we defined earlier, I'm referring to episode 16 here, which is, well, episode 6, sorry. I just put the 1 because I think we might have seasons if I keep on putting things. This is, by the way, is wrong, 6th. So I just wanted to order them. Anyway, we have invalid calls. Something that doesn't start with an at, something that starts with an at but it's not separated by a space, and then something that has an unmatched quote. But we had this simplifying assumption, which is single line messages and no quotes for now, right? Not to drive ourselves mad, because the spirit needs to see something running to keep on going. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm thinking of the spirit here, my own at any rate. So let's get something running. Feedback is so important. So I think we're done parsing all the invalid cases here, because we're not going to do the one with a quote. Therefore, we can do something magical, like we can do it like this. So we have here, we are basically in this line of the receive function. Implicitly, we're expecting something like get and text. So a hash with key text get, sorry, and then text as its value. And here we expect the same with put. And I am assuming that there's only one destination in the call. That's it, which I think is correct here. Anyway, we can always add more test cases later. Let's just get it to work. So now we have a get. So let's say if the first, actually not the first one is an at. The first is an at. So number 2. By the way, this is one of the things I'm gonna fix in cell. 0 indexed notation for lists. I think if you're doing bit manipulation, sure, it might be useful, but man, it's so impractical. I've been doing zero index addressing, I don't know what to call it, for arrays in JavaScript for 15 years, and it's still uncomfortable. If you wear a pair of shoes for 15 years and it's still uncomfortable on year 15, you know you need to change your shoes there. So this is definitely going away. The first element of a list is not going to be 0, it's going to be 1 in cell. So okay, enough ranting. If message 1, I'm just going to return get. No, if message 1 is equal to get. So what am I going to return? I'm going to return whatever came in the message after, like, I'm going to remove the at, I'm going to remove the get, I'm going to return the message sliced. Good question. Maybe I don't want text here. I want a list of items. That might be nicer, right? So I could just get a list here. So I don't have to do the parsing again, right? It would be like should. So already, so get and put could get their food should, which in this case is an asset. So we just return whatever comes the third element onwards of message. And if it's empty, it's empty. And then we do the same thing for put. I don't want parse to be dispatching the call, so I'd rather do it at the receive level. So that's why I return something. And I know I could do something like this. That wouldn't be JavaScript ES5, but I could do something like this. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be more explicit. By the way, I need to think how I'm going to do shit like this in Cell, right? When you basically want to bring a reference to something else, and then from there make a reference. That's going to be fun and necessary. So for now, let's leave it like this. And that's all she wrote. I'm starting to ache to see this running somewhere. So let's do it. So now for the get. So we get a message, but the message is a list now. Nice. So what do we do? If message length equals 0, well, I guess we need to get the data space here, and also get and put know that they're getting valid calls only. The invalid calls have been filtered out by the parse function. So the parse function really is doing two things. It's validating and parsing. So it validates and it parses. So I mean, technically we could just have a validate function and then a parse function, and that's perfectly fine. The order of things is still the same. How nestedly, how do you want to nest the order of things? I think that freedom should belong to the writer of programs. I definitely believe in that. A great part of the shit I want to get rid of, and I don't use the word shit loosely, I mean it, is that enforcing of no, this is how you do it. Find the validate box, and this is how you define the parse box, and yeah, that needs to go. So how much freedom can we grant ourselves, because it's really ourselves, right? Without not going anywhere or just going into absolute chaos. It's a question I fully intend to explore. So we have here in the get function, I'm starting to get excited that this might run. So we get the data space into a variable called data space. Fantastic. Sure, let's just do this. Let me just move this crap over here. So if message has a length of 0, it means I want the whole thing. Just give me the data space. Thank you very much. Okay, that's one case. Now, let's say I get a message with a length of 1 in a get. It's like, get me foo. Sure, I give you foo. So how do I give you foo? If we're going with the multi-line approach, we have this problem. I mean, we are using I mean, this is my problem right now. So we have, let's say we have this entire data space. We just have foo and bar. That's it. That's how she wrote. Then it's easy. I just say if I am getting foo, I'm just going to find the first line that matches foo and then give you bar. The just bar. That's it. That's what you want. I'll give it to you. However, let's say foo instead of a hash with one key is a hash with two keys, like this. So when I'm getting foo, what am I getting? Oh my god, I'm getting into deep trouble here, because if I'm, let's say, removing foo from here, I mean, what would be just getting this bar and this opa? I never thought of this. Good. It's okay to get into trouble, even though I'm recording myself. It's fine. So, in JavaScript, this wouldn't mean shit. I cannot represent this with hashes in JavaScript. I could do something like bar is an empty text and opa is an empty text. I guess that could be it. Do I want this? Is this valid? There's a bit of that feeling of if a tree falls in the forest but there's no one to hear it, what noise it makes. At stake here. Sorry, not at stake, at play. Because also, what the hell does this mean? I mean, if it's foo bar, what I understand is this. Foo bar. This is what I understand in terms of JavaScript, right? But if you have this foo bar and opa, like how do I express that in JavaScript? What's what? So the entire data space, by virtue of having only one path at this level 0 that is text, the entire data space is a hash. Okay, so we start like we start like this, because you could also start like this, right, with a list. So I'm constantly going between JSON and for data because I am, let's say, in my head compiling for data to JSON for this corner cases when I'm not so sure about what I'm doing, and to see if it's tenable in JSON as well, or in JavaScript, to see if I'm missing something or perhaps even discovering something. I'm not above discovering something. So the data space is a hash, sure. So you put the foo bar and you get this. But when you put opa there, is this even valid? Maybe it's not valid. Because what is this? What you're really saying here, what I'm really saying here, it would be like foo takes you to bar and foo takes you to opa. And is that acceptable? I don't think so. Because foo and it takes you to two places here. And if we had this, I could get it because it would be like this, right? Foo is bar 1, opa 3, something like this. Then that's totally valid. What doesn't make it valid, so to speak? What doesn't make it valid is the absence of value to its right. So if you don't put shed here, then I have to conclude the only way to put this as JSON is like this, with empty text. Interesting. Okay, so I think we're getting to the crux of it. Look at this. This is quite cool. Well, not cool, interesting. So foo bar gives you this, foo bar. So in this case, bar becomes a text. If you do foo bar 1 and opa 2, we get this. Actually, let's put them inside. And I wasn't expecting this, but this is interesting. So you have a foo bar 1 and 2. Now, if you have this guy here with nothing, you're really describing it like this. You're really describing it like foo is a hash that points to, that has two keys, bar and opa. And bar and opa, what do they have? Nothing. And if you put let's say a 1 here, you get this. This is starting to look interesting. I could work with this, I think. Not only that, I like the freedom. Yeah, I like the freedom. But it's interesting how having a neighbor for bar, because when it's foo bar, bar is just text, so it's considered a value. But when it is not, when you put an OPA below it, doesn't even matter what you put to the right. It could be a number, it could be nothing, it could be more text, it could be even more hashes. It becomes the key of a hash. So because you cannot have foo bar and foo OPA in parallel, they has to map to a whole thing. Yeah, basically when foo points to two things, foo has to be a hash. The value of foo has to be a hash. There's no way around it. But when it's not a hash, it's text. So it I like this. So when let's say a text in a path, a piece of path I call sometimes these sequences of things, foo bar one. So when an element of a path that is a text points to just one value in the path, and that's the last one, that will be considered like text in JavaScript. But when it points to two, those two are considered keys of either a hash or a list, depending on there are numbers or text. I know how to add provision to make that consistent. You cannot mix text and number. Or maybe we could assume that if there's text and number, then the numbers are coercent to text. I don't know where. That's going to be episode 25, perhaps. I don't know, or 20. So maybe 18. So this is interesting. I'm not running into any corner cases. This is actually very reasonable. It's just novel for me. I mean, despite I'm the one coming up with it, but still, it feels novel to me to have these corner cases available. So let's just do it like this. So all of this to actually get to where we were before, which is if the message is length 0. Sorry, I'm completely losing it here. Message is length 0, I return the data space. Fantastic. So now, if the message has a length of 1, I don't want to add corner cases. I want to really just now have one that gives me everything. Not everything, gives me what I want. Because if I ask for foo, just basically take, like, go line by line, find the line that starts with foo, and then from now on give me all the lines that, including the one that starts with foo, until the level of indentation that is foo plus a space goes away. So for example, I'm thinking here. This is going to be so much fucking work. Okay, so not particularly this function. I mean, in general, I'm starting to see what lies ahead, and it's a bit difficult not to feel this impending back pain. But today I'm particularly complaining. I apologize abjectly. So, come on, this is not that hard. So, I want to do it like this. I can take the message and join it by a single space. I'm going to assume that in the data space everything is separated by single spaces, no double spaces, because we have no quotes, and that's the only way you can put double spaces anywhere. But we're not having quotes yet, so we're good. So we just take the message, we join it into a text. A crucial call here, this join, because we will definitely need that one. So we now have text. So I'm going to do this. I need to iterate the lines in the data space. So I'm going to do data space split by new line for each, and I need to have a variable with an output, right? Yes, for each line. And you can see that they are going to take the ES5 JavaScript syntax away from my cold dead hands, because I still use it. So for each line, if the line matches what? The output. But wait, not the output. The output at the beginning. Wise guy. So new expression output, and if you think this is painful without syntax highlighting, you are right. But I need like the little caret to say this is the beginning of the string, and I should, to do this properly, I need to escape the special characters in the output. But I'm not going to, well, let's just add a line to do escape special character, and I've done all of this, and I can just copy some code from somewhere else. You know what? Let's just do it. So I have a library which it's called CheatCheck. It's a web server raw alternative to Express.js, and I have an escape function here that we can actually simplify. We can just put it at the top here. Var escapeForRegex function, and then you get some text. So these are all the characters I want to escape, and then I don't need this. I return the text and replace new regex blah 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 blah. I'm not using anything that is not native here. Oh yeah, it's a character class, and I just put in double backslashes, and then I'm putting this is a bit of voodoo, to be honest. Double backslash dollar and ampersand is like, okay, I need someone to break down for me but I know this works because I tested it thoroughly and I wrote this code. So let's give it a shot. So we're just gonna do new regex. Is the caret escapable? Yes, I don't want to escape the caret because I want it to really mean the beginning. So I'm going to do escape. My god, I forgot again the name of the function. escapeForRegex. For regex, yes. And now, see, it wasn't too hard to do things properly. So if the line matches this, I kind of have to have a marker here that says, hey, I just found the first instance of this thingy, because we might have multiple things under foo, and I want to already support that, right? I cannot just go with foo bar and end of story. I need foo bar and opa, at least that. So what we are going to do, if this matches, so we're going to do this with using state, which is match found is false. If we find a match in this line, this is the first match that matches everything. So for example, I pass foo, and then the line that I just found has a foo in front, and everyone's happy about it. So what do I do? What do? I say match found equals true. Then I push, wait, because I need to reuse the logic. And I'm going to do it in a single line to piss off people, because that's how I roll. So wait a minute, sir. The output needs to be a list of lines that we will then merge with a new line, because we can just keep them as a list for now. And then we have that. Then if the match is found, then we just do if match found. While we're in the match found mode, we just do line replace. We replace the line, no, not the line, dummy, the message with an empty string, and it's going to replace whatever finds first. So basically we get rid of the foo. Oh wait, we need to get rid of the foo and one more space. But this is just for the first line. So let's just not jump to the general case all just yet. So we do output push. This is the first line. We take the line we found, we replace the message and the space. So for example, foo plus space, replace it with a nothing, an empty text, and we push that as a line. So we will just get bar. Cool. So now how do we get opa? So return. So we cover the case of the initial line. So now if we're here, if match found, so it means like we are, let's say, perhaps in a line below foo. So we need to check if there's enough space. So what's enough space? What counts as within foo? Well, anything that just is immediately after foo and so basically it will be the entire message plus a space, but all spaces. So basically in the case of foo, it would be 4 spaces because foo has a length of 3, and then we want an extra space after that. So anything that has 4 spaces after that, any line that has 4 spaces that is below foo, and before anything else that stops having 4 spaces at the beginning, goes in, and I just get to get rid of those 4 spaces. So I always have the same thing, which is like, how do I repeat something n times without referring to my own libraries, which maybe I will use, maybe I won't, I don't know, but I want to keep it vanilla JavaScript here. So I would just do, what is it, array 5 for each map. Will this thing work? No, it won't work. Why doesn't it work with sparse things? Yeah, it just doesn't do it. Yeah, this sucks. Functional JavaScript loop repeat n times. What? Ah, I have to fill the array. Oh, that's nice. Oops. Nice. All right. That was easier than I thought. What the hell does array to fill does? Can someone explain to me what's the difference between an empty item and an undefined? Man, what the hell is that? See? Okay, that's something we need to completely stay away from. Okay, I still love JavaScript, by the way. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for JavaScript. So there, you have another reason to hate JavaScript right now. So I would do array, what's it, the number, which is message length plus 1, because don't forget the space. I fill it with undefineds. Nice paradox there. And then for like just map whatever, return an empty text. So now I have I call the indent, and then if line match new regular expression with, you're working with someone who doesn't understand parsing when they're writing too many regular expressions. So that's me. I'm going to put the intent here. If it matches these, then we are home free. We just are going to do same thing. Return output push line replace message no indent with this nothing. And then something that will enrage people probably is I'm going to have like a fall through, which is if you were in the match found but the line actually didn't match the indent, or you were not in match found mode, I'm just going to do match found equals false. And I don't care if I set it to false many times because it doesn't matter. It's still correct. It might be less efficient, but it doesn't matter. And then, hey, look at that. We have something that then we can just return the output joined by new length. And there you go. We have a get function. Just on time for me to wash my teeth. Super cool. Now we will have to do put, and I'm not going to start on put because that means I will stay until I finish it. But I'll just leave this teaser here, which is I know we have to set an item there. And I think we have a lot of our work already done here. So I think we're going to leave it here. Gentle viewer, thank you for tuning in. And tomorrow we're going to do the put. And hold on to your seats because I'm going to actually run this in a web browser and see if this actually does something. I still have to put some basic UI there to get stuff in there and get it out, but we are capable of doing that. And then we could start actually, let's say, send like a, when you're just kicking a ball against the wall, we're actually starting to get some feedback from it. And there we are going to start to see some signs of life. I will take it from there. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.